Hello everyone, Michael Brady here from Brady Musical Instruments. This is now day 4 of the mega batch unveiling leading up to the 82nd New England Folk Festival being held this Friday and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Marlborough, Massachusetts. So for this event, I prepared 18 brand new pendant ocarinas along with several other instruments, a total of almost 60 instruments for this showcase, with the main focus being around this brand new mega batch of pendants. So this mega batch consists of 5 smaller batches of pendants, so nearly a half a year's worth of work crammed into one showcase, crammed into 1 week of unveilings. If you've been following along, you would have already seen the first 3 batches consisting of a number of E-flat 5s, E5s, and F5 soprano ocarinas. Now for this batch, I'm going to be unveiling for the first time a brand new size of ocarina. So without further ado, I'd like to give a first look and listen to batch 25 of wooden ocarinas from Brady Musical Instruments. So over the course of this video, I'm going to be diving into each of the ocarinas, give sound samples, and discuss some of the playing aspects of each. So like I mentioned, this batch consists of 4 ocarinas. These are now ocarinas numbers 67, 68, 69, and 70. So this batch, again, is very unique in that it is a brand new size. So this is what I would consider now an alto pendant. So these are slightly larger than the soprano pendants. So the soprano pendants are they're all the same depth at about 1¼ inches deep. But whereas the pendants are about like 2½ by 2½, kind of roundish, seed podish type shapes. These ones are a little bit larger at about almost 3 by 3 inches. So a little bit larger, still wearable size pendants, so a little bit bigger pendant, but again, made from wood. They're very light and very manageable. In addition to this brand new, slightly larger alto pendant size, there are 2 brand new keys with this. So the first and last ocarinas of this set consist of a new D5 key, and the middle 2 here consist of a C-sharp 5 key. So these are both the same size. The only difference is some minor changes internally with the internal volume of the chamber that dictates the final voicing of the ocarinas. So in addition to the new size and the 2 new keys, this set also consists of 3 different ocarinas. So these middle 2 here are identical, but the 2 outer ones are very different from the middle 2. So we've got a new size, new keys, and a whole bunch of different woods. So this is kind of a nice eclectic mix of different ocarinas for this batch that I think pairs nicely together. So diving right in, we're going to be looking at the first ocarina of this batch. So this is ocarina number 67. So again, this is tuned to the key of D5. And one thing I really like about this size pendant is I've always preferred deeper, more mellow instruments, whether it's ocarinas or whatever. I've always kind of gravitated towards deeper instruments. This size ocarina is noticeably warmer. It has the same smoothness and sweetness as the smaller soprano ones, but again, it has a little bit of a deeper, warmer tone. So if you like the pendants, but you're looking for something uniquely warmer, this size might actually be something for you to explore. So this first ocarina consists of 4 different woods. So the first wood that sets the theme of this ocarina is the back. So we have a really beautiful piece of madrone burl for the body. I've used madrone burl in the past. I've used it for several custom alto inline ocarinas. Madrone burl is a little bit softer. I think it is harder than camphor burl, but both of these burls are on the softer side. So like the camphor burl, the madrone burl is going to lend itself to a really warm, smooth tone. It has a really beautiful color to it, a nice figure in this particular piece. This piece was actually left over from the burl that was used for a custom alto set that was sent over to Japan. So next, complementing the madrone burl, I decided to do the same exact theme like I did with that set. So I paired this piece with a really beautiful dark wenge stripe running across the body. And then for the top, we see again this really beautiful reclaimed curly birch. So I used this for the last set of soprano pendants. Those were all soprano F5 pendants. So I had a bunch of that, and I decided to use some for the larger size and some for the smaller size. So we see again that beautiful birch coming through on this. There's a little bit of spalting here, very, very slight, but kind of gives it a little bit of extra character. And then we have here an aromatic cedar mouthpiece. This one actually has a little bit of a knot inclusion running kind of in the beak area that gives a little bit of personality. So I'm going to play scale and some improv on this ocarina. So this is what number 67 sounds like. So this ocarina, again, you can, if you've listened to some of the other videos for the smaller pendants, this pendant has really noticeable warmth to it. Really, really smooth tone, really clear tone at the top. And again, I've come to really love this style of pendant. I like both the pendants. Sometimes some songs call for a nice chirpy, bright tone of the smaller pendants. Sometimes the nice smoothness of these larger pendants really plays well with the song selection. But this is a really fun size to play. And there's going to be a lot more of this to explore. Next up, we have ocarina number 68. So this one is actually different from the first one. Kind of similar looking woods, similar type theme, but again, also a little bit different. So looking at the backwood, we have the camphor burl. So the first one was the madrone burl. This one is now the camphor burl. So it kind of has some nice light banding at the camphor burl. We got, again, a really beautiful curly reclaimed birch top. This one actually has noticeable spalting. You can see there's a really beautiful line of spalting running down the side. It's very prominent that I think this gives this one a lot of beautiful character. And this one was actually has a little bit more of a story in that when I was working with the birch, there was several spalted areas like this one, and I was drilling, I was working it, I was tuning it, everything was fine, and then I guess just from the natural changes in fluctuations in the temperature and humidity or whatever, working with these in the basement, um, the spalting actually kind of split. It split down the spalting. It didn't completely crack in half, but it was being held just by some fibers in the back. So still one piece, but almost fully split apart. And at first I thought, like, crap, I have to throw this beautiful piece away. And then I was thinking, well, I can definitely work with this still. And I'm going to see what I can do. So I re-glued that together, clamped it well, and reflattened it and proceeded working it. And now, if you look at it, I mean, it's hard to tell here, but if you look at it really, really, even really closely, you cannot see any sign of split wood whatsoever. You can see the really beautiful spalting line, but there's absolutely no sign of the split anymore. This was really well glued together, really reworked to a very high degree. I really wanted to save that spalting line, and with the gluing, with the finishing, with it, locked into this shape. There's absolutely no chance of this resplitting again. But again, I really want to save that spalting feature of this ocarina because I think it gives it an extra level of beauty. Then finally, we have the aromatic cedar mouthpiece. So this ocarina is again tuned to the key of C#5. So a little bit of an unusual key. I've been finding that for these pendants, while for custom orders I do work to an exact key, a lot of time for these pendants I'm kind of just doing what works and just letting the ocarina sing at the voicing that it wants. So I can adjust it to whatever tuning I want within the range for the particular size, but I've been kind of leaving it to where the ocarina might lead me. So these are all very similar. They're all the same size, but just some of the subtle differences in the hand-carved internal cavity is going to make some subtle changes for the tuning. And for this particular one, it turned out that C#5 was the tuning, and I kind of ran with it. So a little bit of an unusual key, but again, I think a really unique ocarina with a bit more backstory to it with the figuring. So now I'm going to just play up and down the scale. So this is what number 68 sounds like. So like the first one, even though they're slightly different key, the response and tone is very similar. They have very similar breath curve. Low breath at the low end, gently rising through the range. Super, super clear high notes. And during this next size, this larger pendant development, I had originally an initial batch of several ocarinas, and there's this really weird acoustical anomaly that was occurring at the high end that I just couldn't voice out. I was trying everything. I just couldn't get them to work. I ended up losing 2 ocarinas in that batch, and this last one is the only one from that original batch that actually remained. And it was just such a challenge to get a voice, and then just through tons of trial and error, through tons of just failure, I finally found the combination of wind wave parameters that just clicked and just made these ocarinas really sing. And once I found that kind of right combination and getting this right, that acoustical anomaly, went away, and they just sing so sweetly. So moving on to the third ocarina of this batch, this is number 69, and this is actually the pair of 68, so the same exact wood combinations. So we have that camphor burl. This one has a bit of a darker side on this side, lighter patching on this side. We have a very clear piece of the reclaimed curly birch. So there's a tiny bit of speckled spalting in the center, not nearly as pronounced as its sibling, but still kind of the same feel. And then finally we have a clean aromatic cedar mouthpiece. So like the other one, like its pair, this is also tuned to the key of C#5. So I'll just go up and down the scale of this and play a little bit of a song demo. So this is what number 69 sounds like. So both of these are, again, just super smooth. I feel like this set in particular, all the pendants so far are really smooth and very warm sounding, but I think out of the 4 sets that I've done now for this batch, including this batch, this size and this tuning just has an extra level of smoothness to it that it's really hard to describe unless you actually physically play it. And some of the ocarinas, they're a little bit brighter, a little bit sharper, a little bit smoother, a little bit warmer. These are definitely a just extra level of smoothness that's really a joy to play. Finally, the last ocarina of this batch is number 70. So we've got another interesting combination of woods. So continuing on with the back, we have more of the camphor burl body. So there's a couple of nice dark knot inclusions there. There's a little bit of this color stripe running through the grain. For the top, I decided to pair this with a really beautiful orangish red piece of padauk. I think the padauk kind of matches nicely. Instead of having a more stark contrast with the light and dark, kind of have a much more subtle contrast with the dark red and the dark black, not black, dark brown of the wood. So this is a more subdued type feel to the ocarina. And then you have, again, the aromatic cedar mouthpiece. This one also has a bit of a knot on one side. So this ocarina, like the first one, is tuned a little bit higher. So this is semitone higher to the key of D5. So I'll play through the range. So this is what number 70 sounds like. So again, all four of these ocarinas have the same breath per curve, the same response, just really, really sweet. This one I think has a little bit more volume with the harder woods, but still it's very subtle, has a lot of still warmth and sweetness to it. A little bit maybe crisper overtones on it that gives it, again, a little bit more bright tone, but still overall very mellow, sweet sounding, and very smooth across the range from the lowest note to the highest note. So that kind of wraps up this batch unveiling. Now I'm going to just do one more improv on these to kind of wrap up this video. So please enjoy a little bit more improv on the new size of alto pendant ocarinas. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this batch unveiling. Again, this is batch number 25 of wooden ocarinas, consisting of 4 of the first alto pendants that I've released. The set consists of a whole bunch of different woods. We've got madrone, we've got camphor, we've got spalted, curly birch, padauk, so a range of unique characters, 2 alto D5s and 2 alto C sharp 5s. All of them, again, play with really beautiful sweetness to the tone. The size I've come to really, really love. And I'm going to be definitely making a lot more of this size. So if you see an ocarina that you like and you can't attend the upcoming festival, send me a message. Let me know. Get on the reserve list so I can reserve the ocarina for you. And if it doesn't sell in person during the show, then you'll get first dibs on that particular ocarina. If you happen to miss out, don't worry. There's tons more pendants in development and planning. But definitely, especially with this set, this is a uniquely sweet set, a uniquely smooth set. I'm tempted to keep one from this set myself, but I know because there's going to be a lot more to come, might as well try to get them out into the world first, into the hands of very capable musicians, and see where it goes from there. So if you like these developments, you want to follow along more, there's a lot more to come on the Brady Musical Instruments channel here, as well as the YouTube or the Facebook and Instagram pages. All the information for all these ocarinas is already online on the Brady Musical Instruments website shop page, as well as updated information in the pendants section for the general info. So with that, we still got one more ocarina batch to go for tomorrow, and then a very special brand new non-ocarina offering that I will be unveiling the day after. So with that, I'd like to thank you for following along, and I'll see you next time.